Always, guys, respect the pump. I respect the pump in all assets. Why? Because it's kind of like karma. You know, the power of the pump always comes back to you if you respect the pump of other people. This scam coin is pumping again. Actually, you are kind of you're rejecting the pump from your life. Maybe it's a bit out there, you know, woo-woo, but we all gotta believe in something, and I do believe in the power of the pump.
GM, and welcome back to the channel. So it does seem that Uptober has been memed into existence here, and what we're going to do here is look across the board at some of the hottest sectors and coins just to see where we are in the market right now, starting here with BTC. If you do enjoy the content today, make sure you subscribe to the channel, drop me a comment down below, and we'll begin. So rather amusingly, looking at the chart here, we have a Blackrock for BTC. Those lows have held, and this was a point for me in terms of the narrative that I thought was very important that this level did hold. Of course, when you have the biggest asset manager in the world stepping in and putting down the flag and saying, look, we're going to be getting our clients to buy Bitcoin via our ETF in the future, well, you do want that low to hold there. And we have held it. And since we have another amusing point on the chart here with BitBoy's arrest here also marking very close to a bottom here at 26,000. That was as people were getting very bearish here, suggesting we were going back down to range lows, but we've pumped and ascended higher, 28,200 and change right about now. Total liquidations, we're seeing quite a lot of shorts getting blown up. Not huge numbers overall, but mainly there is some fuel to the fire here with shorts being taken out for ETH and BTC in good order, and people are seemingly reloading the shorts as well. So maybe an additional squeeze coming up. BTC dominance is something to actually take into consideration here. Ben Cowan euphoric above these levels, around 49%. Although he has still been very bearish here, BTC has come back down to test the top of this box and has moved away yet again, now up to 50.38% for BTC dominance. So what you're actually seeing across the board are some charts that look rather good, and then you're seeing others pretty much dying out. If you just look at Sushi as an example here, and we just go to the max, Sushi has had no significant pumps as it has sold off throughout the year 2021 and 2022 plus 2023 there. So dominance definitely being soaked up as a load of these coins. If you chart against Bitcoin, it's even worse. Satoshi value absolutely taking a hammering. So this just shows you BTC dominance. Of course, you have loads of coins going to the graveyard, but some are actually keeping up with Bitcoin on the moves up. Hopefully a few of them in this video for you. Fear and greed, definitely something to kind of counter trade as well. The fact that people were super bearish during the whole of this time as Bitcoin was holding just above the Blackrock lows, we were seeing increasing amounts of bear euphoria as we were just chopping sideways. It was extremely tedious, boring. People were leaving the industry, packing up and getting the heck out of here, but you cannot do that with this asset class. And as we're seeing now, some people are paying the price for this. Still pretty neutral here at a rating of 50. Now, in terms of people to follow with interest, we do have Don Alt here, who has pretty much caught all the major moves on the higher time frames for BTC. And what he showed recently was he managed to scoop one of the lows here. He did sell a bit prematurely prior to this pump, but he has now bought back in for another trade on Bitcoin. Quite an interesting confluence to see. But why the BTC pump? Why is it heading up? Well, potentially some macro here from TED Talks Macro. China's central bank, he says, continues to stimulate via the reverse repo markets. And if I just pull this down to the bottom here, you can see PBOC, liquidity injections. This is around the stimulus around the COVID times, very much in alignment with what they've started to stimulate yet again through here. So with Bitcoin and the correlation between liquidity in these global markets showing its face yet again, which does actually figure into Raoul Pal's everything code. Not conclusive evidence, but this well could be one of the many reasons. Now moving on, one of the first sectors I've seen move here in a big way was the meme coins. As soon as Bitcoin showed a bit of life, the memes really did spark back into action. And if we just look over the last 7 days here, there's been some huge movers. Some of these are absolutely horrendous meme coins. Harry Potter, Trump, Homer Simpson, 777, ENU up 85%, Mogcoin up 80% off the lows, Ticker Bitcoin up 50%, we're seeing Floki up 30%. And essentially what was happening was a load of these were just getting some big pump action off the back of some sign of hope from Bitcoin. So it does seem that the memes have moved first. yet again. I noticed this previously as well. They do often move quicker than the rest of the market. SPX is up 64%. A bit of pumpage though, I would suggest, from some influencers on this one. Big Dick Bull over on Twitter, excuse the name, not mine, but he seemingly did put this pump in here from around the 8s up to the 15, 16 level. It's retraced a little bit here, but this coin is ticking on up nicely. A meme around the SPX or the S&P 500s. And we also have this meme here as well, the ETF token. So going into a potential Bitcoin spot ETF, this one might be a decent play to have on the radar. As you can see, it's not been around that long, just around a week or so, but it has been ticking on up nicely here. So couple to have on the radar there, which are amusing more than anything, SPX and ETF. The memes pretty much write themselves, and these coins that seem very much ridiculous, but they have some placement in memetics in terms of the social landscape right now. They're worth having on the radar, and I do track these and trade these. Moving on though, we do have Solana here, which we've seen push up very nicely here. So Solana and its ecosystem, definitely something to have an eye on for this month. Maybe we'll see the fruition of some of the airdrops around MarginFi or Jito Sol, or some of the very many other Sol-based airdrops that are being farmed right now. If we do see some form of stimulus in the Solana Eco, that could be very good for additional follow through. It's up to around 24 bucks here. Let's just pull this out. Pretty much recouping a load of the losses that it's seen over the previous month here with all the FUD around FTX and those coins potentially hitting the markets. We're almost back up to the prices we were at as we were bullish prior to that FUD storm really taking place. So a bit of a recovery there from Sol. A lot of marketing going on. The hashtag only possible on Solana has been doing the rounds, and this is something they're really pushing within their community to show you things that aren't possible on other chains. And this one even got a retweet from Jeremy Allaire of Circle, i.e. USDC. And this guy here, Chris, has shown 1.16 seconds is the settlement time for USDC on the Sol chain here for making a purchase. So Jeremy posted, is this the fastest on-chain digital dollar in the world? And this obviously makes sense. This is why Visa have started to partner with Sol, and they want to settle their payments on Solana's rails as well. Only possible on Solana, that meme kind of tag that they're going with here, that marketing strategy has also got its own meme coin creation as well. Opos is the ticker. It's currently $6. You can see it's kind of been falling down here over this weekend and into Monday, but potentially we'll see a breakout of this one. This is actually a cool bellwether to look at in terms of alts on Sol. Is the degen behavior back on chain? If this really starts to rip up yet again, I think we'll have some fun for the altcoins on the Solana network. But previously with the kind of meme coins on Sol, I've got involved with a few, but they haven't really worked out. So interesting to see this one. Opos, we'll be keeping tabs this month just to see what happens. Then we have Arbitrum, and Arbitrum have their big stimulus coming as well. 75 million tokens are going to hit the market in the future here. And what we've started to see is the ARB altcoins, the ones who are going to be the recipients of these additional ARB tokens, which they can therefore incentivize users with. They've started to tick on up nicely, as has the ARB token, the governance token itself. Over the last 30 days, pretty decent looking chart there. It looked a little bit dead and buried down here, but the bottom buyers are sitting happy at this moment in time. Now, shout out to Dan at Blockmates for the newsletter update. This was dated the 19th of September, showing us the governance proposal here of the Arbitrum short-term incentive program. Those who started to scoop up coins around this time are doing very well at this moment in time. And the details were 75 million ARB tokens of DAO-funded incentives targeting active Arbitrum protocols. So those who are active still on the network, not the fair weather friends who came at the start of the year for the ARB token drop and left, they will be getting a chunk of change. But if we scroll down here, we can see that Dan has posted this as well, a timeline for this short-term incentive structure. So as you can see, back in September, forum posts, snapshot vote, and an on-chain vote. And then coming into these few weeks here, there was a time lock, voting round 1, application period 2 is next week, review period over the remainder of October, plus a voting round. And it's not until week 8, beginning around November 4th, will the multi-sig actually send the funds out. So over this month, maybe time to do some research, look for some pullbacks as things are pumped up nicely, see which tokens potentially are going to get some big incentives coming their way, and you could maybe position into those coming into November for when the tokens hit. Will it be a seller news event? No idea, but you can see here from the timeline, you could plan things out and plan your trades accordingly. Now, Lybra Finance, the LSD and stablecoin issuer, has been busy building out their V2 update. There's a full deep dive coming from myself. I'll be dropping it on the Blockmates channel soon, hopefully in the next week or so. But this one, as I was doing my research, I got rather bullish on, and there was a few misconceptions that I saw with this token. Now, first and foremost, let's just look at the chart here. So V2 was announced. It went live over the back end of September, and it seemed to be a bit of a sell the news event with people selling off their tokens. Now, one of the issues I saw with this was over on Twitter, a lot of people were posting TVL screenshots of Lybra saying, look, this is absolutely new. The V2 has not worked. If we just jump into DeFi Llama here and Lybra V1, you can see, yes, indeed, the TVL nuked. It was around $340 million, and then it starts to nuke here as V2 goes live. And these were the screenshots that I was seeing, people saying, look, it's puked, it's dead, it's gone, whatever. But a lot of the TVL has in fact transitioned over to the V2 base. V2 brings about non-rebasing LSTs. So in V1, you could only utilize staked ETH from Lybra Finance, but now you can utilize the wrapped Binance ETH, Rocket Pool's RETH, wrapped staked ETH from Lido, and potentially a few more also coming online soon. And if you look at the TVL here, 225 mil, and it pretty much is in up-only mode. Combined TVL of V1 and V2, somewhere in the region of 250, so it has dropped off in terms of where it was at the peak of V1's TVL levels. But what we're seeing is a lot of mercenary capital in the LST space, farming and dumping lots of tokens. So I did tweet out yesterday that I picked up some Lybra here. $1 does seem cheap in my books, and there's been a lot of progress around token emissions and utilization of the token within the actual platform. So ES Lybra takes 90 days to now vest out, and also me shouting out the fact I'm going to be doing the video on Blockmates very soon down there. But what does this all mean? Well, if you go to vest bottom left on the DApp here, vesting tokens now take 90 days to fully vest out. This was previously 30 days. This was a change that took place just within the last few weeks. And so in my mind, the result of this will be seen over the coming weeks, as the change behind this, quite a big one here, increasing the vesting schedule by 60 days, is likely to have a big effect on the token distribution and the amount of circulating Lybra tokens. So for those who have minted stablecoins on Lybra, they are incentivized with the LBR token. It comes to you as ES or escrowed Lybra. You then have to vest it out. So a lot of people were farming and dumping, but it's not so easy to farm and dump. Now that the duration has increased from 1 month up to 3 months, I think there's going to be some profound change around that. Also, if you go to earn on here as well, in order to unlock those emissions, you have to provide DLP, Dynamic Liquidity Provision. This requires you to lock into the LP of LBR to ETH. It fattens up the liquidity for the LBR token, protects the downside and kind of the upside as well. Not so volatile, huge liquidity on this thing now. And it does mean that those who want to farm and dump do have to make an allocation into the LBR token. So quite a few changes coming in terms of their tokenomics. The Lybra Wars and the DAO have just been set up as of the 1st of October, I believe it was. And there was also a migration period as well from V1 into V2 of the LBR token, and around 2 million tokens did not migrate in time, and they're subject to be burned as well. So doing some digging, doing some actual research into this thing, I got a bit bullish, and I think there's a lot of catalysts on the horizon here, and the sell-off for this was over-exaggerated, I do believe. And if we've got some bullish catalysts here for the crypto space, plus positive tokenomic changes for Lybra, I do think this thing is on the cheap side right now. Not financial advice, but that is just a position I've taken up more recently. So I hope you enjoyed this one, showing you some of the catalysts around the month of October here and some positionings as well. Drop me a comment down below what's in your altcoin bags right about now, and I'll see you again tomorrow in the next one. Peace.
A good night, and let the pump be with you, okay?